I had a request for upward facing dog. Break it down into a couple of steps. The first step will be learning to activate the back of the body, so the back of the legs, back of the spine, so you're using the muscles at the back of the body to bend the body backwards. Actually, that might be the second step. The first step I'll actually focus on is the shoulders. We'll focus on either using the pec minor muscle, which is at the front of the chest, to pull the shoulders down, or focus on using the lats, these muscles here, to pull the shoulders down, or actually with the hands on the floor, using the lats to pull the rib cage up relative to the shoulders. Two actions that you can practice. One focuses on the pec minor, it's muscle at the front of the chest. Actually attaches to the top of the shoulder blade, a coracoid process, and then attaches to the ribs. So with the arms free and the rib cage stable, so like this, sitting or standing, that muscle can be used to pull the shoulder blade down, forward and in. So this sort of action. However, with the hands on the floor and the arms stable, and with the shoulder blade stable, that muscle can be used to pull the rib cage up, or the front of the chest up towards the shoulder blade. And a very simple way to practice that is to dip the chest forward, so actually curve the thoracic spine forward so the chest sinks down. You may find your abdominal muscles activate, that's fine. And in this position, pull the top of the shoulder forward and focus on pulling the shoulder blades right about here, or even the end of the collarbone down this way and in, like so. So squeeze, relax, and relax. And then what you can do is, with the hands on the floor, move the shoulders forward and down. Press your hands down. You may feel some engagement here. Press the hands down to lift your hips, lower and relax. So shoulders forward and in. Same time, press the hands down to lift the rib cage, and then relax. For the lats attach back of the pelvis, also to the sides of the lumbar spine. Actually attaches to fascia, covers the back of the body, and then inserts at the front of the arm. And for lat activation, I generally like to focus on lifting the chest, moving the shoulders back slightly. And actually a better action, so it's not so much a better action, because the lats attach to the front of the arm, so that the lats have room to contract and then lift the body. What I normally suggest is externally rotating the arms. And external rotation generally uses muscles at the back of the shoulder blade, attaches the back of the shoulder blade to the back of the upper arm. Infraspinatus is probably the main muscle. So if you spread your shoulders slightly and externally rotate the arm, you may feel some tightness at the back, or a feeling of muscle engagement in the back of the shoulder. Relax. Externally rotate, relax. And in addition to that action, to make lat activation easier, you could also slightly spread the shoulder blades. So the sequence of activation for lat activation is spread the shoulder blades slightly, externally rotate, and keep the shoulder blades spread, relax. Shoulder blades spread, externally rotate, and then from there, instead of focusing on the shoulders, move your awareness to the arms. Since the lats attach to the arms, to activate the lats, focus on pulling the arms down. So spread the shoulder blades slightly, externally rotate, and then focus on pulling the arms down. And what you should feel is this muscle right here activating, and then relax. Spread, externally rotate, pull down, and relax. And if that's too much, just focus, move the shoulders back, pull down, relax, pull down, relax. Once you get the general feeling, see if you can do it slowly and smoothly, and put your awareness in your lats. So some people, generally it's pretty easy for weightlifters to tense the pecs, and what you may find when you do that is the lats activate as well. See if you can do it without so much of the pecs engaging. Excuse me. Next step is a bit harder in dangle pose. Lift the chest, move the arms back. You could try slight external rotation. In this position, see if you can squeeze the abs, use the abs. use your lats to pull the arms down and lift the rib cage up. If you've got yoga blocks, it might be easier. So chest open, arms externally rotated, your shoulders slightly forward. Right. There. Hopefully I'm engaging my lats. Relax. Spread. Externally rotate. Pull the arms down and relax. So in this case, pulling the arms down because the hands are on the floor, that actually lifts the rib cage up. And one challenge there is with the hands on the floor, the feeling of the hands pressing down, the actual action of lifting the body weight up, those sensations can drown out the sensation or overcome the sensation of the lats activating, so it can be a little bit more difficult to actually feel the latissimus dorsi activating when you're lifting up. You may also find that your chest is activating as well, and that sensation drowns out the sensation of the lats activating. So it may take a bit of practice to feel, or as you saw me do, I had to use just one arm to see if I could use my other hand to feel the lat engaging. So currently I'm using a fair amount of shoulder exercises to make shoulder awareness as easy as possible. Basically, I'm trying to teach my shoulders to I'm trying to teach my students to use their shoulders in a variety of positions or situations, so that even when I'm not teaching them, they develop enough awareness of their shoulders that they can consciously choose how they use their shoulders. And one of the postures that can make shoulder awareness easier is actually tabletop. And in this, generally I'll start with legs crossed. We might start off with lifting the shoulders lower, lowering, and then pressing the shoulders down, lifting the hips, and then relaxing, repeating that. Another action is in tabletop preparation, relax the shoulders so that the chest sinks down. And the feeling is actually like lifting the shoulders, but with keeping the hands on the floor. Instead of with the hands on the floor, relax the shoulders so that the rib cage sinks down. And then use the shoulders, press the hands down, lift the rib cage up. Notice how my ears move away from my shoulders. Then when I relax, my ears move towards my shoulders. If you have difficulty with that, practice this action first while sitting, moving the shoulders right to the rib cage. Moving the shoulders relative to the rib cage. Then once you get the feeling of that action, try and find a similar feeling, but keeping the hands on the floor. Relax the shoulders so the rib cage sinks down. Activate the shoulders so that the rib cage moves up. In addition, once you have that feeling, use your shoulders to lift your rib cage, and then use your spinal erectors and intercostals to bend the spine backwards so that the chest opens. So repeat that a few times. Lift, open, relax. And then from there, with the hips lifted, do the same set of actions. And this can become a little bit harder, particularly if your shoulders are tight in the arms back position. Use your shoulders, lift your rib cage. And then from there, try to bend your spine backwards so your chest moves towards your chin, and then relax. To practice using the lats in this position, so with the shoulders active so the chest moves up, open the chest. To activate the lats here, you could imagine pulling the shoulders forwards towards your knees. And I've not done this before, it just occurred to me. So from this position, with the chest lifted, chest open, use your lats, try and pull your arms forwards, relax. Use your lats, pull your arms forward and relax. Another action you could do, try and activate the pec minor. Keep the shoulders still. Try and squeeze the chest towards the top of the shoulder. You may find the top of your shoulder move slightly forward as you do that. So from this position, keep the shoulders stable. Try and activate the front of the shoulder or front of the chest. Relax. Front of the chest, relax. And the feeling there. So in this position with the chest stable, you can use the pec minor to squeeze the front of the shoulder in and down. With the hand stable, you can use that same muscle to help pull the chest up like so. So try that, and in tabletop, and now we'll move into the back of the body preparation for upward facing dog. So the next set of actions are to train get used to feeling the back of your body. So lying on the floor, the way I usually teach this is the legs first. I used to start off with the rib cage. I found it's actually easier to start off, at least for me anyway, with the legs, perhaps because I'm not so good at using the back of my legs. But the basic action, lift one leg. Notice I'm not lifting my chest. In this position, focus on feeling your butt activating, gluteus maximus, also the hamstrings, and then relax. Lift the other leg. You may find as you do that, as you lift the leg, the front of the pelvis presses down. If you can't feel your glute activating or the hamstring, or it feels like one side feels not as strong as the other, what you can do, move the leg slightly outwards or inwards. See if you can find the position where it feels strong or where it activates. You could also try a slight external rotation or internal rotation. But vary the position. You may find, like me, I've developed some bad habits, unconscious habits, so I naturally lift along one groove, and that's actually not the most effective groove. So if I move inwards or outwards, I can find the groove where my glute and my hamstring activate easily. Also notice my knee when I lift up, I'm not turning the knee out to the side. I'm trying to keep it pointing down as much as possible. So practice that a few times. If you need to rest, rest, and then try to activate both legs at the same time. Do keep the knees straight. And again, you can adjust one leg and then the other leg. Find a position where both legs feel approximately equal. And you may notice when you're lifting both legs at the same time, you can put your hands on your lumbar spine, either side of the bone. Feel the muscles. So in this position, I'm relaxed. As I start to pull up on the legs, I can feel my spinal erectors activating. Then as I lift my legs higher, I can feel this muscle activating strongly. This and this also activate. Relax. So repeat that a few times. Get used to feeling your butt and your hamstrings activating. You also may develop awareness of your spinal erectors activating. When I first started to do this, I found my butt got extremely tired. Actually found it quite difficult, and this was only a few weeks ago, but by the next day or the next couple of days it actually got a little bit easier. So if it's difficult at first, don't worry about it. Try it a few times, rest, and then try it again. You may find that the action actually becomes easier even after a few days. Next, from there, lift your legs. Then from there, you can start from your lumbar spine, gradually add tension to your spine and try to lift your rib cage. Rather than just lifting the rib cage, try to bend your thoracic spine backwards, lengthen the back of the neck. You can also practice shoulder activation here. Move your shoulders slightly up, externally rotate, and then pull your arms back. See if you can feel your latissimus dorsi muscle activating, or roll the shoulders in. See if you can activate pectoralis minor, and then relax. Repeat that a few times. Next, we'll go into upward facing dog. So now, upward dog. First step, excuse me a second. So the first step is to activate the legs. Next step is to activate the spinal erectors. And then from there, keep the back of the body active. Position your hands. I'm not going to say where, probably under your shoulders. Give it a try. Position your hands. Use your hands to lift your body. Notice that I'm not letting my legs go down and then lifting up. I'm keeping my legs active, keeping my spine active, and then from there, this might be cobra. And then from there, I'm going to lift my hips. So the back of the body is still active. I'm not relaxing. I'm going to make my knees strong so that my hamstrings activate a little bit more. And then I'm going to see if I can use my hamstrings and my butt, keeping my knees pointing down to bend my hips back a little bit more. The feeling can be of pulling the pelvis down and forwards towards the hands. And then I'm going to pull my lower belly in a little bit to help bring some awareness to my belly. I'm going to use my spinal erectors to open my rib cage. You can also use the intercostal muscles to help open the rib cage. And I'm going to focus on lengthening my neck. From here, you can play with your shoulders. You can relax your shoulders. Then use your shoulders to lift the rib cage up. Relax. Use your shoulders to lift the rib cage up. Try that a few times. The next action you can try, I'm going to suggest this entry for a few more times until you can get used to feeling the back of the body active. And then from here, keep the arms, so use your shoulders, pull your rib cage up. See if you can tighten the front of the chest so that you use your pec minor to lift the chest up. Relax. Engage the front of the chest to pull the pec minor, to use the pec minor. And the feeling as you do that, you may find that your shoulder blades feel like they're spreading slightly. Next action. So going into upward dog from this direction, knees straight, hamstrings, butt strong, the spinal erector strong. I'm going to move my shoulders forward, externally rotate the arms, and then from there, the feeling is like I'm pulling my arms down, and that's using my latissimus dorsi to pull my rib cage up. So this time from the back. Legs, spine, and then the arms. So knees strong, thighs strong, buttocks strong, spine erectors activate. Abs, I'm pulling my lower abs in a little bit. So if I focus on my pec minor, what that feels like is using my pec minor, back of my arms, back of my shoulders might spread a little bit. If I focus on using the lats, so knees straight, thighs active, spine erectors active, abs active, I'll spread the shoulders, externally rotate, and then pull the arms down relative to the rib cage and try and focus on squeezing right at the lats. If you have back problems, so there I'm feeling a little bit of compression in my lower back, so I'm not activating something properly. One action that may help, and my feeling is it might be my psoas, rather than the psoas relaxing, my feeling is it might be that the psoas needs to contract. Why? To help stabilize the front of the lumbar spine. If it's not so much the abs that need to activate, my feeling is it might be the psoas that needs to activate. And so what I'm going to try next is, psoas is a hip flexor, so it can be used for this action, closing the front of the hip joint. If it's lengthening but still active, so similar action might be in this position. So even with the butt active, I'm trying to bend the hip backwards, but at the same time, I'm going to try and push the front of my foot into the floor so that I activate the front of the hip as well. This can seem a little bit confusing. I remember hearing people talking about externally rotating the feet and then internally rotating the thighs, or spiraling the shins outwards and spiraling the thighs inwards, and it sounded contradictory to me. So one thing that may be helpful is to first focus on activating the back of the body, keep that activation, and then imagine tightening the front of the body. And the feeling, so knees strong, thighs, butt, spine, and the intent here then, I'm going to pull my hips forwards, and then I'm going to try pull my feet. So normally if I push my feet down, that should lift the hips higher. However, if I keep pulling my hips forward and down, and in this position pull my feet into the floor without actually lifting the hips, that actually feels a little bit better on my low back. So with muscle activation, two things are important. When you do this, most people can do this, or a lot of people presumably can do this. They can flex my arm. My daughter can do it. Hey, come here. Go like this.
What?
Just come here.
What?
Just come here. Go like that. Go. Show them. See? Even she can do it. Go. Okay, thank you. So most people should be able to learn to do that. And the intention is, one is keeping the elbow bent at 90 degrees. And that's almost unconscious. You see someone do this, like, okay, keep the elbow bent, this position. I was later taught the arm should be open so you have more space so you can actually see the bicep. Mine's not huge, but anyway. You keep the elbow bent, that's the bone intention, let's say, and then you squeeze the bicep. And what's happening is, so that the arm stays bent, the triceps also activate. And you can feel that for yourself. So the tricep and bicep are activating, but your focus is probably on the biceps. Hey, look at that. Whoa, man, you need to work out. So anyway, with upward dog, what you can do is you can keep your spine bent backwards. You can, so the bone intent, the skeletal intent is to keep the spine bent backwards and the legs, so keep the body bent backwards. You keep that. You keep your hips moving forward and down. If I'm doing this direction, you keep the hips moving down and forward. But then you activate your, sort of like activating the biceps, you activate your hip flexors at the same time, but perhaps imagining pushing your feet into the floor. And that will probably, if your knees are straight and your knees are lifted, that should activate your hip flexors, and you may find that helps your lower back to feel safe. So one more time. So if you like, you could lift the back first and then engage the legs, then lift up higher. So my sequence for now, and use this at the beginning until you get comfortable with the sequence of actions, until you're actually comfortable in upward dog. Then you can try going into upward dog in one smooth action and try and find the same feeling no matter which way you enter it. So from there, knees straight, thighs active, knees straight and strong, back of the thighs active, butt active, spinal erectors active. And as I did that, my shoulders automatically moved back. Now I'm going to keep my pelvis moving down and forward towards my hands, and then I'm going to push my feet into the floor to activate my hip flexors. Abs in a little bit, and then from there I can use my shoulders. I can either tighten the front of the shoulders so pec minor activates, and that doesn't feel too bad, or I can move the shoulders forward, externally rotate, and try and activate the lats. And that actually feels all right on my neck. So if I actually could lift my chest a bit higher, then I might get to the stage where I could look up and comfortably rest the back of my head on my shoulders. But anyway, that's my long and involved upward facing dog video. Hopefully that was helpful. Sorry I spoke a lot. Not really. If you have any questions, please use a comment form. Thank you very much for watching. Namaste. Do say goodbye. Come on, quick.
Namaste.
Hey, sit down.
Bye-bye.
Thanks again for watching. Final note, I've created a video called Muscle Control. Actually might be Motor Control, Muscle Motor Control. And the intent of the video, and there's another ebook which could build up on the material, is to teach basic motor control, very simple motor control, learning how to activate the quads, hip flexors, butt, hamstrings. I've sort of introduced it a little bit in this video for upward dog, but it's mainly for beginners or people who have who are lacking in awareness of their body, who cannot activate, say, their quadriceps at will, or their butt or their hamstrings at will. So it's to teach you how to activate those muscles consciously, and also how to then use those muscle activations to help improve flexibility, particularly in forward bends, so hamstring stretching, and in back bends. And the idea is to help you become more mindful in your yoga poses. So instead of relying on someone to tell you what to do in a yoga pose, you can actually do it yourself, and also give you more tools to explore your body so that you become, I guess the term would be self-smart. You're not relying on an external expert to help you figure out what to do. Well, you are initially, but you're learning to sense and control your body for yourself so that you can feel for yourself what works best. But anyway, that's muscle control and muscle motor control. There's a video, and if you wanted a bit more detail, there's an accompanying or an additional ebook you can also purchase called Active Stretching. And again, thank you very much for watching. Namaste.